Thanks for being here. Thanks, Brian. You have 6 minutes. You're all the way better than unicorns.
Awesome. Let's see. Before we get started, I really want to see the screen for a second. I want to know that I can do both those things at the same time. I only see Joseph's iPad. So what I want to see is, for the audience that's out there, I really want to get some engagement. So if you're willing to turn your cameras on and just wave at the camera, that'd be great. If you're not, that's okay. There's a reactions button down the bottom. Hey, thanks, Peter. So there's a reactions button down in the bottom bar where you can raise your hand or you can wave or something like that, so that I can just see that you're all awake, you're all there. Because I'm going to ask quite a bit. Thanks, Brian. I see Bruce coming on. Hey, Bruce, thanks. Hey, Tom, good to see you there. And Joseph, we've heard your voice, but do you have the react button on your iPad there so that you can raise the little emote hand?
He can turn his iPad on. He's probably multitasking.
He probably doesn't do that. I see that Tom gave me the oh face.
I'm sorry, you were asking if I had what?
Reactions, or turn your camera on. I just want to either see you or have some way of interacting with you. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Joseph. Okay, cool. So thanks for that. My name is Brett. I'm with Better Than Unicorns. I'm going to present a little bit about the company, but I really want to get to know you all better, because my ask is going to be very much about connecting with professionals who embrace gaming and play as a core part of how we innovate, how we think differently, how we embrace the world around us. So first, Better Than Unicorns started in 2017. It's kind of the brainchild of a couple of different pieces, and I'm going to unpack those as we go here. So the first question I have for everybody in the group, virtual and here, is who can name the last game you played? Just raise your hand if you can name the last game you played. You know the name of the game you last played. Now, sports are included. So if you played a sport recently, you could say soccer, football, whatever it might be. Okay, I see hands. So for those of you who don't have your hands raised, I'm assuming you played a game recently. You may not either know the game's name, or you haven't played in a little while. So is it, Peter, is that where you're standing? You haven't played it? You're muted? So you can go ahead and unmute. Tell me.
No, I originally was thinking like video game, and then I took it a little broader when you mentioned sports game, so that kind of expanded and included me as well. Okay, great. So everybody raised their hand and said that you have a game that you can name. Great. So I'm in the company of gamers. Oh, who is that?
That was me. I don't play these games.
Okay, don't play games. Do you play card games or dice games or
Yeah, okay, board. Yeah.
You play board games? Did you recently play a board game?
Yes.
Okay, that counts. Bruce, you're a
Okay.
gamer. You can't deny it anymore. You are now official gamer. Okay, so my point is here, we all play, right? We all have some way that we use games in our lives, either for entertainment. We could get into like really understanding all that, but I've got 6 minutes, so let me hustle and continue to tell you more about why this is important. Gaming, there's all kinds of research and data that shows that play and gaming help us innovate, help us think differently. It helps our brains get sort of off kilter. In fact, it's one of the things that Actiga is doing with EMDR, right? It's another way to get our brains thinking just slightly differently about the way the world is showing up to us. So what we, with Better Than Unicorns, do is largely use VR to help get companies and teams off their common seat, right? We want to get them off kilter. We want to get them in a state of play, in a state of innovation, in a state of thinking differently. So we use VR to do that. But before that, I was a game developer. I got into game design education. So I was teaching high schoolers about game design. And one of my students said, you got to play League of Legends, because I get all my gamers to play when I'm teaching game design. You have to play games. And one of them said, you got to play League of Legends. So who here's not heard of League of Legends? Okay, so I see one, Joseph, thank you. Bruce, maybe, yeah, two. Okay, great. So it's probably the biggest e-sport out there. You've probably heard that term, e-sport. It's gaming athletics, right? So it's people who are playing games for big money. I mean, a professional esport athlete is making, like a high level professional esport is making around $18,000 a month. Like this is professional career athletes playing games. So that's esports. League of Legends was the game. When I got introduced to that game, I realized, oh man, there's a whole world of getting brains to map differently through video games that is a serious path for a young professional to follow a career and become something great in the world. But beyond just the sport activity for professional world, what about playing games that could be an essential tool for how we think differently, how we evolve, how we imagine some of the biggest problems in the world? So now I'm a little bit all over the place, but on the back of my shirt here, you probably can't read it, but it says Sheep's Knuckles. So Sheep's Knuckles is my code name, and Sheep's Knuckles is a reference to an ancient story. Thank you for doing this. Is an ancient story about a civilization during a famine, right? There wasn't enough food for the entire population. All the other civilizations around this one civilization, they all diminished by half. They lost half of the people of their population. This one group decided instead of only half the population eating and the other half not eating, they were going to play games one day and they were going to eat one day. And they were going to play games and they were going to eat. And the game they played was dice. The dice they used were sheep knuckles. Okay, for 18 years, this civilization not only didn't diminish, they grew. They grew by playing games. They survived an epidemic in their culture by playing games. Okay, what I'm saying here is that games can help us solve some of the biggest problems in the world if we just recognize that gaming wasn't just for playtime, but actually playtime is an essential part of how we do business. So that's the core fundamental understanding about why Better Than Unicorns does what it does. Now let me tell you a little bit about what we do over the next couple of minutes. We use VR to introduce people into a state of play. We do this in 3 different categories. Initiate is getting people's toes dipped into VR for the first time. This is a lot of what Actigo was talking about in terms of accessibility. So one of the ways that might work for Initiate is we had a federal credit union come to us and say, we don't know anything about the metaverse, tell us about what that is. We then put all this into headsets, oh my God, and introduce them to us. The second one is collaborate. This is really our core team building using VR as a medium to help people evolve. That's what we do mostly with teams. That's what we like, right? Integrate is where our company says, okay, we get it. We know VR is awesome. In fact, this meeting could have been in VR, right? I heard the timer. I'm wrapping up. This meeting could have been in VR, and for companies that say, okay, we get it, we want to now integrate that into our company. We want to run meetings there. We want to do presentations there. We can do all of that, and Better Than Unicorns can help you figure out which headsets to buy, what software to use, what platforms like Actiga to use, how to build your own stuff, right? So that's what we do with Integrate. Those are the 3 categories. I know I missed a ton of stuff. I think my final words are the ask is really, I'm looking for collaborators. I'm looking for people that embrace the notion of gaming and embrace the notion of play as a way to think differently. Even if you have a client or colleagues or people in your network who you think might get it and want this, we want to work with you. We want to talk to you. Thanks.